Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning to this inaugural presentation with me, of course, and looking at Writer's Toolbox and the challenges of distance learning. What I'd like to do in these sessions across the next few weeks is to both look at Writer's Toolbox and how you might use that effectively in your classroom, but also look at some of the challenges of distance learning itself and how you might tackle these effectively with your classrooms and the schools that you're working in. So first of all, here's just a few thoughts from me because these are interesting times. I personally have never given a public lecture in my tartan slippers before, but this is the first time. So, but here's some thoughts. I think as you face distance learning, or home learning, it's quite different from the traditional classroom, as I'm sure you're grappling with. And I think perhaps three things may initially be useful. I suggest that first of all, don't think in terms of the lesson, but as you're approaching the planning phase of this, think in terms of the week. In the lesson itself in the classroom, you can control the pace of the thinking, of the interaction, of the education, but you can't at home, you can't at distance. And you want to tread that fine line between giving the student, the child enough, but also not overwhelming them. And this is the challenge. So I think if you conceive of your plans as the week, not the lesson, but the week, what might they achieve this week? Then that's a good start. And here's the second one. Use resource books. It's perhaps an old-fashioned thought, but it's pertinent to this time. When you conceive of the task that the student has to do, I want you to provide the resource material. It's tempting, I know, to say, well, go and Google X and see how they get on. But in that scenario, several things will happen. Barry, I'm not really sure what to do, will sit there probably quite enthusiastic about Googling landforms for the first 3 minutes, and then he will become distracted by the fascination of the latest review on Call of Duty 4 or some new Marvel film about to come out, and Barry's lost. He will drift into the ether, into the Google spaghetti. He will be lost. And then the second candidate, of course, would be Mary, I will do twice as much as you ask. You will give the task to be done, and without further barriers, within 3 days, Mary will have already completed 4 drafts. She will have done it. She will have done it several times over, with the sacrifice of everything else possible in her life that might be accomplished. You're the teacher, and the beauty of the task fashioned remotely is that you can not only control the question and the focus, but you now enter a world where you can control the bounds, and that is so important. I think we have a duty as a teacher to control how much a child might digest and take on when they have to do something. So craft a resource book. I'll show you how you can use that shortly on Writer's Toolbox in this world. But you produce the resource from which the answer will be fashioned. This will actually do several things for you as a teacher. It will first of all force you to think through more clearly the focus and the direction of the answer. It will force you to think through the quality of that answer too, and just what in particular you might be looking for the student to deliver. It will force you to think the types of materials you want your student to digest. And because you produce it and you cover off the extent of the material you want them to use, you will have now controlled the bounds. And some people will say, of course, well, what about research? Where does research sit in all this? Because shouldn't they be researching? Yeah, they should. But let me offer you a secondary thought. I have long believed that the great duty of us as teachers in the classroom at this stage in their life can be not just to teach them to research, but to show them what quality research looks like. And while they might Google happily, you and I both know that that quickly can turn in many instances to Google disaster. And Barry becomes frustrated and Mary spends far too long. You control the bounds, and then you begin to teach those other skills, aside from just hunting and gathering, that are so crucial to the research phase. You teach distillation and synthesis and evaluation and judgment and ordering. And these things do not arise from just letting the child wander. These things arise from giving them particular tasks where the resources you put in front of them are written for their age and their stage at an appropriate amount and an appropriate quality. And this is one of the opportunities we have in the time we face at the moment. So I hope you grasp that duty. And the third tip is this, before we jump into Writer's Toolbox. The third tip is this, make it fun. Education was not designed to be boring. And there's enough going on that is challenging right now. So make it fun. And I'm going to, over the next few weeks, give you some tips and ideas how you might just do that very thing. Embedding a little hilarity as well into the challenge of education and learning in front of you. So here's how we'll do this. Right now, we're about to jump straight into Writer's Toolbox, and I will show you how some of the cool features we have there for students. And then day by day, we'll look at particular elements of the site and how you can use those effectively as you roll them out in the classroom and use it to inspire and encourage and teach and extend your students. So let's just get straight in here and see what we can do. So right now you can see my teacher screen in Writer's Toolbox. I've logged in and you can see that screen in front of you. I'll give you a quick tour of some of the interesting features. But initially, I'm going to point you to a couple of useful things that are there for you every day. As a teacher, once you've logged into your account, you'll see something initially that the students do not have access to. Can you see that little dartboard there with the circles around it? That's the daily challenge, and every day of the week, I've written challenge that's going out to our Write That Essay community, and that's here on Writer's Toolbox for you to use. I'll show you today's. There's what we have today. School's out, it's party time. So why is Nigel, and he does look particularly cross, but why is Nigel so cross? You tell me. Only there are a few essential words you must include in your masterpiece today. Delighted, prunes, explosive, and party. Now, I don't care how many words you write. I don't care if your student just writes that very clever sentence. They get excited and they write an entire paragraph or a story about these things. But every day, one of these is coming up. This is Mad Monday, and Mad Monday always has a particular bent to it. We have Thoughtful Tuesday and Wacky Wednesday. And that's there for you as a teacher every day. Now, here's the cool thing. We're actually going to release this, my techie team, whether they like it or not, are hard at work. And we hope that by tomorrow morning, this will be up on every child's account automatically as well. At this stage, we built it so that the teacher could project this into the classroom, but those classrooms have vanished on us. So as of tomorrow, this will be there, that little dartboard, on every child's site as well in Writer's Toolbox they can go to the daily challenge, click it, get that particular challenge, they can write their answers, and then you as the teacher, once a week, can pick what you think is the best and send it in to competitions@writethatessay.org, competitions@writethatessay.org, and we're going to publish the best. Doesn't matter how old, whether that child just writes a sentence and it's a corker, or it's a brilliant paragraph response to a daily challenge. Doesn't matter which daily challenge, you pick, send them in, and we'll publish the best. Competitions@writethatessay.org. So let's just do a couple of things to give you a sense of what's going to happen for your students as they log in, and also for you as a teacher. Some of you may have seen this, but let me just quickly give you a little refresher. I'll log out as the teacher and I'll log in as a student. And here's a new student who actually has not been at my school yet. His name is Boris. And we'll just log in Boris. This is the student logging in for the first time. He's got his username, which is his email address, and a password, which we would have, of course, sent you. And of course, I don't know who this bloke is, but it's a particularly nice shirt. I wish I had a shirt like that myself. And he gets this welcome screen. The first thing those kids are going to do as they log in to write their essay is go through a sequence where we take a snapshot, a milestone at a point in time of their writing. So here we go. I'm going to continue. I get a few quizzes first to say, how do I feel about writing? And my name's Boris. I quite like writing. Yes, absolutely. I had better writing skills than 12 months ago. Probably not, actually. I can self-edit. I don't really like self-editing, so not really. I'm confident, absolutely confident, and I see myself as a good writer. Yes, my name's Boris. I absolutely do. Next, and now I've got to pick. I've got to pick from a range of possibilities that I'm then going to write about as my first milestone task. Well, my name's Boris, so I think I might pick the red telephone boxes. I have the chance to make a few notes on this question. If I could spend Christmas anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? And I'm going to think of Grandma, Grandma's place. And why? Well, actually, she's a particularly a good cook. And I'm going to continue, and then I've got 10 minutes to write. That bloke again with the red shirt. Here we go. And off I go. You can see there the countdown timer has ticked off. And the clever thing is, I'm not going to make you sit there for 10 minutes, but we'll just write something. Christmas is a very nice time of the year. I like it. I like it a lot. Particularly because I get to go to Grandma's house where she makes really good pudding. Boris is a struggling speller, as you can see. And unlike Mum, Grandma puts ample ice cream on her pudding, and when I ask for more, Grandma doesn't stop. I love Grandma. Okay, that's Boris's piece, complete the spelling errors, which he's done expertly well. And let's just bump this timer along with only 4 seconds left. The student has 10 minutes. It's done a snapshot of my writing, and then I can go in as a student because it's processed my writing, and I see this. This is the student's first snapshot at the artificial intelligence that's loaded in the background here of Writer's Toolbox. He's done his piece, and we'll come to this more during the week as I explain for you what all these different features mean. But just initially, if Boris wants to see something more about what these, or if you do as a teacher, what they actually mean, you can just click on one, and here's a way. You can see the different aspects of what they mean. I can choose my character. So here I go. Yes, that definitely looks like Boris. And I'm going to continue, and I'm into the site. And once I'm in, I can begin work, I can write, choosing a whole range of writing tools that we're going to go through over the next week, the next 2 weeks. We'll look at every single one of these writing tools in turn, and I'll show you how they work. Just as a very quick highlight over the top, you can, of course, click the little I button underneath any of the writing tools, and it will tell you what that tool is, why we've named it after that particular writer, and you see a very short snapshot on what the writing tool actually looks like. So that's the student's experience. Let's just log out for a second as a student, and I'll log back in as the teacher. And let's, in this very first session, do a couple of the tasks that you will probably find quite useful. So this is my teacher account. And straight away, let's just do the thing that you often have to do first in is create a class and add a student. I think even in this first session, if we could do that, that would be helpful. The classes icon, you can, to classes, your school admin, so to speak, you can get to from this very top row of buttons across the top, from the dartboard right across. And the little green one with the people is your school admin. I click on that, and you can see here already in my school, 796 students. I have everybody from Albert Einstein in the middle to Alfred Hitchcock to Amelia Earhart. That's interesting, yes. And I have no classes. So let's create a class, shall we? I'm going to click on the create class button. We've designed this to particularly, spent many long hours. We're really trying to make it as intuitive and as fun as possible, both for you and for your students. So class name, particularly gifted individuals. Year level of my class. Oh, this is a year 7 class. Department. Oh gosh. I think this should probably be the geography tourism would be fun. And class image. Right. Yes. Particularly gifted individuals. Wow. They look particularly gifted. Create. Then I'm going to add a student. Now, there's a lot of students in this school. So I'm going to search for somebody, and let's find Boris. And predictive text just starts typing the student's name, and predictive text immediately responds with anybody in your school whose name remotely looks like that. And there's Boris, and he's now added in my class. Let's add a few more people. Let's bring in Helen. I wonder if we have, there's Helen, she's a reliable student, I quite like her. Nigel always does the work she's sent. No, it doesn't answer back in class. Perfect student. We've got Nigel Parkinson, Boris, Helen, and let's just see if we get anybody famous too. Ah, look, brilliant, excellent. He's probably not too busy at the moment, so let's just grab Al Pacino as well. There you have it. I have my class ready to go, particularly gifted individuals, year 7, and they're there, all 4 of them. It's that easy. So why don't we then go and in the time we have remaining, because I thought 30 minutes would be just about chewable for you out there in webinar land, especially all you people at Parakai School and Matua. You probably get sick to death of me going on for an hour or so. So why don't we actually now make a task for this sort of day that even just keeps it fun. So I'll spend more time on this week, but let me just show you one thing as we go, because we've made a task, we've thrown some students in our class, And now we're going to go to tasks. That's the yellow icon up here. And I'm going to create a brand new task. We spent a lot of time on this in the past 2 years as we developed the new site, Writer's Toolbox, because this area in particular, we wanted to make it as intuitive as possible for you as a teacher, and actually, funnily enough, as enjoyable as possible. That really you could do it very quickly and very fast, and one person in the school might do it and rapidly share that out to others as they found a particular activity was exciting or worked well. So let's just call this, I'll show you how it works and you get the sense. Let's just call it day one without school. Officially anyway. Task. Yes. Right, here we go. All right, you geniuses. Very difficult word to spell, geniuses, isn't it? All right, you clever students, you. Try this one on. Write as many sentences as you like about these images. But here's the trick. Every fourth sentence must be this sentence. But not today. Let me define the sequence. Oh, any stage, if you forgot to do something, you can just go back. Look, I can put the year level in. I can put a word length in. Should I choose that? I might leave it out. I can put a due date in. Let's just make it, well, let's give it Friday. I can choose a PDF. I haven't got one here, but we'll do that this week. And then, so I put the title in and the task itself. Then I go to sequence. Sequence is this clever page where you get to decide the particular order in which, or the writing tools that you might want them to use when they come to do the thing you've asked them to. They can do creativity, they can just do a planning stage, they can go straight into the writing tools. They can do all three or any combination of these. So for this particular task, I'm going to use Storyboard Writer, which I'll show you how to use in more detail during the week, favorite of mine. And I don't want to mind map, and I don't want to do a box plan. We're just going to jump straight in. That's the sequence. So I'm going to have my students go straight to that task. I can pick some tools. I have a range of tools here. I can add a checklist if I want. Let's not put a checklist in today. I'll show you it tomorrow. It's as simple though as putting in some keywords. Yes, that could be interesting. So let's add a keyword list. Your challenge today. I'm just giving that title a list of keywords at title. And then I'm going to type one, and it's just so simple. I'm just going to put banana, backwards, fortunate, Ferrari. That will do. I can pick some sentence styles. Now, the clever thing here is that the system knows, because I selected year 7, which sentence styles, according to the 12 I teach, the child should have in their progression during their schooling years, have been taught and have some capacity in by this stage. These students are year 7. Through their primary years, they should have now already been exposed to all 12 of my sentence styles. If there's some there that perhaps you think the class, for whatever reason, haven't had sufficient teaching in, or you don't want them to see as they do this task, you can deselect them and the students won't have access to them on the site. It's a clever feature. The same with the paragraph styles. You can see there the site already knows that in year 7, these students shouldn't have been taught the slam dunk or the better quote, some of the more advanced paragraph structures that you'd expect to teach proficiently as the child gets older in their schooling years. They would have learned these initial fundamental paragraph structures. And again, you might decide, well, for the purposes of this task, we don't need the scientist, but some of those others, well, they could be useful. Imagery. Here's the fun part. Now, you can pick your own images from your desktop. You can go and find some across Google Spaghetti Land if that's you, or you can pick some from the WTE gallery, and we have quite an intriguing selection here for you. And you can pick, for example, I quite like that one. I definitely like that in the fish. It's super, as is the dog. He's always a good choice. And yes, well, there's Grandma in the kitchen. Grandma was quite a theme today, so let's just throw Grandma in there as well. I'm now at the stage where I've been through this. I've got my checklist, the keywords, the sentence styles, the images, and now I'm going to preview my task. This is nice because it actually shows you what the student will actually see when it comes through to them. And if you don't like some of that, you can go right back to the start, alter it until it's what you're happy they see, and then you have done it. So you can see here, I've got these 4 images coming through in this nice carousel. I've got the task there and the keywords, but let's just send it and share and see what that final stage is. So I can send to a class. You can see as a teacher, I didn't have any classes, but even in the short time we've had, and we've only been going for a few minutes this lunchtime, there's my particularly gifted class. I've got them there already, so I could send it out to them, and why not? Or I could actually just choose, if I wanted to, demonstrate it. This is a really helpful feature, again, for you as a teacher, because yeah, you saw the small version, but sometimes I don't like small versions. I actually like to see and experience it myself, just to make sure I've got it right. And look, I can do that. I can view it, and it takes me as the teacher through to this task. And I can actually experience it fully. It's going to keep a draft of this task. I can blow in and see these images. It's a lovely feature. I love that about this. I can scroll through the carousel. There's Grandma, and it's probably, I don't know what her name is, whatever her name is. They're having a great old time there. And you've got all the elements of the imagery you can throw in. I love this particular feature because, as you probably sensed, you can have the child write the story sequentially through this, or they might go wherever as they reach into the imagery and write the task in front of them. And now I can begin to compose. If I'm stuck and an idea for a sentence style, well, I might even use the handy sentence spinner over here. Spin the wheel. This is not encouraging gambling. And ED start, and immediately that sentence style has popped up there as one that I might do as part of this task. So here we go. Determined and to be even better at cake making, Mary went to visit Grandma. Why don't I even just use this clever little zoom function here? Because if I do that, you can probably see it even better. Look. Mary took, pronouns weak in writing, always use the proper word. Here we go. Mary took with her a banana, and now the keyword's highlighted. It's got that, see? Banana and some icing sugar. She was quite a good cook. usually. And I can hear you in concert. Even though we're miles apart, I can hear you, but not today. Do you see? It's fun, right? And look, I'm just, I'm Mary, I'm sitting here, I'm at home, I haven't got my teacher. And I'm really proud, of all the work we've done over the last couple of years to make this tool so it can help your students even when you and I can't be present in the busy classroom or present now in this remote world we find ourselves in, because I can just click feedback. And that writing, that artificial intelligence has analyzed Boris's piece, and straight away it's giving him some things as a student he can work on now to make this quality, the quality of his writing, even better before you ever see it as a teacher. I can go in and I can master some of these sentence styles. I can work on my average sentence length. I can work on my sentence styles per paragraph, increase my writing strength. I love this. Many teachers are also saying, no, don't send it in to me until your writing strength indicator is 70% or more. And that way, you push back to the child, the individual student, that wonderful gift of learning how to self-edit and drive their own formative feedback and respond to it before you ever see it. And they begin to take increasing charge, agency over their skills as a writer and the quality of the work that you see as a teacher. Okay, I think that's enough for today. That's an initial snapshot. I told you I'll keep these just to 30 minutes. It's been great to be with you. It's been great to have this time together. If you have any questions, please fire them in. We're going to take a log of all these questions and I'll integrate into these sessions with you each day, feeding back to your questions, and let's do this together. But thank you very much. I wish you all the best. See you tomorrow, same time, same channel. Cheers.